Welcome to Pulp Deckle. I am Jen Woodward, one of the co-owners of the papermaking studio based in our garage in Oregon City, Oregon. Today we're going to be doing a quick demo for you of fun and festive holiday decorations. These are recycled paper. You could use them as ornaments or bunting, even make little gift tags and things out of them, whatever you need for the holidays. This should give you an idea of how you can do this at home. Okay, so what you need is some paper. You ideally want to use scrap paper. These are scraps from Egg Press, which is a stationery company locally in Portland, Oregon. And they gave these to us so we could recycle them. So we've got in this container some water, just plain old water that you get. You could use some wastewater too if you have that accessible, as long as it's kind of clean. And then you want to tear up your paper, soak it in some water first, it'll be easier to tear. And then you want to tear it into pieces that are about 1 inch, you know, something in that neighborhood, so that your blender doesn't struggle as you blend this material up. So we've got a blender here. It's nothing special, just from the thrift shop, and some water already in there. So you take a handful of that torn up, soaked paper material, and you put it in to some water. And then we actually need a little bit more water. There we are. So that the pulp will mix up right. So you're gonna blend this until it looks like oatmeal. So probably around a minute, depends on what type of paper you're using. So we're gonna start the blender now. Okay, now we're ready to fill in our cookie cutter forms with the pulp that we just blended up. You can see that it's kind of like that oatmeal consistency. It's got those bright pops of color from the ink on the paper. We've got 2 different contrasting colors. So yeah, you just use a spoon. This is a great way to recycle maybe your takeout spoons. You've got a drawer full of those at home. Now you can give them a purpose. So what I've got here under the cookie cutter is a piece of cotton cloth. You can really use whatever you want, any kind of fabric that is porous that you can do this on top of, and a towel underneath to catch all that water that's soaking down underneath here. And then I don't want to put this in too thick. So to get the corners going really well, I've got this paintbrush to tamp down and get the pulp into those corners so that I get the shape of the cookie cutter. So there's one, and then we'll do one more here so you can see with this other pulp in a different shape. You see how I'm holding it down so that the pulp doesn't slide out underneath the cookie cutter? If it does that, then you'll end up with a more abstract shape. Not a problem, but you won't get the shape that your cookie cutter has. Oh, you see I got a little dribble on the outside. I can just peel that out. And you might be wondering, can't I just pour this from the cup into this cookie cutter? You sure can. It's gonna be harder to control that way. So maybe just to start, so you get a feel for the process, use the spoons to put your pulp in there. There's one more little corner I gotta get. And if you want your shapes to be really thick, you can use more pulp and get them built up make them thicker, but we're going for more like paper, traditional paper thickness, thinner than cardboard. All right, so now we can pull up. This is a little bit tricky, the shape. This will help if you use this paintbrush to hold it down. That'll keep it from the pulp from sticking to the cookie cutter. Alrighty, you got shapes. Okay, now that you have your shapes, you could either just let these air dry and they're gonna have a little bit more texture and be kind of more like this. So this is some paper pulp that's embedded with spent beer hops. So you can add fun things like threads and stuff into your pulp when you're making your holiday decorations. But if you also are like, I just want to complete this process now, then the only other thing that you need to get these dry is an iron. So we're gonna fold this cloth just over these shapes, and then we're gonna iron right on top of that. So you want to do this with some a firm grasp. You're not pushing in because you don't want to disturb the pulp too much, but you're just gliding that across the surface. This will take a little time. You can always do this and then take a look at how it's going, but like I said, you're gonna be ironing for a few minutes. So through the magic of video, we're gonna continue to iron, and then we'll show you how they look after they're dry. And ta-da! We have some dry paper ornaments. You can see these little specks of dark blue here are actually from a marker that I was just testing out on the paper. So just to give you an idea of like, if you want to further decorate your ornaments, you can add little designs to them. And it's paper, so anything that you would do to paper, you can do to this. And they're a little bit thick, not, you know, to make them a little sturdy. So when you're, if you want to put them into like a bunting or something where you string them together, you could use a hole punch, like a sturdy hole punch to make a little hole. Or you could use a needle to press through to make a little hole so that you could thread through some ribbon or twine. Again, if you have things that you can recycle, that's probably the best thing to use for this. And just have fun and enjoy making some recycled paper decorations. We'll see you next time. Thanks.